Hola, gamers. Dirty Lobber and the Boys versus Rest and Relaxation is our next game. All right. So, Tricks, what can you tell us about Rest and Relaxation?
Rest Relaxation, couple of high-level players, really good. We have North, previous PCC MVP from Royalty, moving over to the jungle role. ADC and support duo, Natty and Bartle two of the best players in their roles right now. Just incredibly solid players. And then Narek and Akaram bringing up the mid and the off lane. Just an overall solid roster. I think that they're really strong players. It will be interesting to see, to me, how their teamwork, transitions into this competitive environment against a team that's shown themselves to be pretty competent in D-Lab.
Yeah, and going back to PCC3, I really enjoyed seeing all the copy pastas, cheering on North with him being MVP. But with Dirty Lobber and the Boys, previously known as Dirty Lake and the Boys, what can you tell us about them, Joey?
Yeah, so of course on the team they have Liquinator on the carry and Toshi as support. We also see Appy Pickle, who's someone that a lot of people like in the mid lane. We have Grady in the jungle and Lobber solo. So kind of like a lot of the team coordination, I think it's going to be around Toshi and Liquinator. I think that those two are going to be sort of like, it's going to be hinged on if they're going to be able to carry those team fights or not. But definitely the rest of the team are also very solid overall.
With that being said, let's look at this draft. Dirty Lobber and the it is Dirty Lobber and the Boys.
They're both dirty
now. That's true. They are both dirty. The Dirty Boys on the left side, and then R&R over on the right side. I just want to say shout out to Hot Sauce and everyone else who has been involved in this draft scene here. It just looks phenomenal and fantastic on broadcast, when you're seeing all of this come together. But can you remind us again, Trix, we have a new draft process here for those who have missed it earlier. What is the strategy to approaching these drafts now that we have two bans?
Yeah, so the new process, two bans, you ban, pick. So one side's going to get one pick, two picks, one picks, re-ban. So the strategy generally is to try to pick either strong or flexible picks in the first half, kind of leave your team comp open to interpretation so the enemy can't really counter you that hard. And then in the final two picks, that's when you kind of activate your trap card, show them what you're really about, and then your team comp comes together, hopefully, and you can counter the enemy draft pretty well. But bans coming out, Steel Kalari ban from Dirty Lake and the Boys. A little bit of a surprise pick, not seeing either Rampage or Bellica banned.
Yeah, I think it's also very surprising too. I'm not too surprised about the Steel ban, but the Clyde ban is also very interesting. It sort of makes sense in the last game we had with Woke and even was timing, but for Dirty Like the Boys to be banning the Kalari, I'm not too sure if that's like they're trying to ban someone out again on the jungle side, or it's actually Kalari just sort of been like maybe a sleeper menace in these comp scene.
Yeah, I mean, North and Akaram, both potential Kalari players. North just really strong player overall. I like the Steel ban. He kind of fits into these team comps, like I said, very, very safe off laner, kind of hard to lose lane, and he shows up late in those team fights, kind of just 5-man ulting somebody. A lot of CC coming out, but it is interesting to me because, like we've been saying, this Bellica pick, the Rampage pick, giving up Lieutenant Bellica first to R&R, it's already strong. It's already off to a strong start.
Indeed it is, but remember, Dirty Like the Boys are going to be able to get two picks. There's Rampage, there's Deco, there's a lot of really strong picks. They can just pick both of them right at once. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the first two picks are going to be picked on that side. And we do see the Deco and Sevra coming in strong. So not going for flexible picks, they're going for the very strong solo picks in their respective roles.
Yeah, it is interesting because we were talking about how powerful that Decker and the Rampage is with the two long-range CCs able to kind of combo them together. But we've been seeing Severog do a lot today so far. Both games with Severog, both wins. He's proven himself to be, returning to that off-lane menace role that he's been playing consistently throughout the PCC. Once he kind of gets going, he's impossible to stop. He's pretty safe lane too, and then just once you transition him over into that mid game, he's got the shoulder pads, he's got the tankiness. We saw Shin last time do so much with it, and Decker just an overall solid, well-rounded support.
And here we see the Crunch and Drongo. This is kind of interesting that they picked the Drongo because I think they're afraid of them picking Drongo and shutting down the Crunch. So it kind of seemed like they really want the Crunch to go in and do what he wants. But the only issue is he still have to go against the Decker and Sevron. Decker alone is like very can be a huge menace to the Crunch, and Sevron can easily lock down the Crunch or knock him away. So it's very kind of interesting they're picking the Drongo for that. But like this Crunch still has a lot of things he can potentially worry on Dirty Lake and the boys.
Yeah, Gadget coming out, another solid pick. There's a little bit of flexibility in this Dirty Lake and the boys draft. You could put Severong in the jungle. That's not his, where a lot of players like to play him, but it is valid, and that Gadget can flex into the mid or the solo lane. So far, non-committal drafts from both sides. I agree with you, absolutely about what you said about taking the Drongo and the Crunch together. That Drongo is such a big counter to the Crunch. You drop the Gag Grenade, but the Decker wall, like the containment fence, does a lot of that same things. If the Crunch tries to go for some big, long engage or pick, then the Decker can wall him out, stun him, they blow him up. All of a sudden, the team fight's a 4v5. Coming into these second bans, what are you expecting to see?
So I think West of Relaxation might be trying to ban ADC because the Dirty Lake boys haven't picked the ADC yet. So this could be opportunity to try to take an ADC out of the equation. So like maybe they can ban out the Revenant or Twin Blast, kind of make Dirty Lake the boys have limited options on the ADC role. But for Dirty Lake the boys, I might try to ban something that can something like Western Relaxation maybe really want. I think they may want Rampage a lot for the frontliners, so they can ban that out. It can make the frontline comp very awkward for R&R.
Yeah, it is interesting that we're not seeing the Rampage pick in the first half, given that he's been a pretty consistent pick in these drafts so far. Dirty Lake and the boys, though, banning out the Shinbi. I like that, honestly. The Shinbi we saw Snoop last PCC, a menace with it, constantly threatening to blow up the whole map, and that offlane split push kind of strategy. And it's one of the only good picks into Severog. She kind of shuts him down. She's got that long range farm, very hard to kill, very slippery. It's just Rampage ban coming out from R&R now. I like that too. You already have the Crunch. Maybe you just don't want to deal with it. That kind of forces the Severog into that offlane role where you likely suspected him to be going to anyways. But solid bans on the second half.
Yeah, it's very big for Dirty Lake to ban Shimmy out just because so that Sevorg doesn't have to worry about any like that huge threat. He can kind of do Sevorg things and just keep farming and W keying the off lane. It's very interesting that Western section banned out the Rampage, but I think they only did that because they're afraid of the Rampage Sevorg combo, which is going to be a very strong frontliner combo. But at the same time, that's kind of like what they want to in the jungle because they're going to be very limited in what kind of choices they can have for frontlining at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. So we see the Richter coming out from Dirty Lake and the boys. I like the pick. Decker stun into Richter Riplash, like one of the classic long-range pick combos. It's really strong. It's likely a Richter jungle, given Severog wants to kind of go into that off lane. That leaves the ADC to last pick. Rest of Relaxation has already picked the Drongo, so you kind of get that priority pick because they're not going to pick another ADC. Gideon coming out for R&R, and the Chimera closing out the draft for R&R.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think Richter would have been a solid jungle choice for R&R, but we see Dirty Lake just pick that up. The only issue that Dirty Lake is maybe running into is they have a very heavy magical damage team comp, so a lot of it's going to really hinge on the ADC. If they can blow up the ADC, then all that's left is magical damage. They can probably tech into items that can make them pretty durable against that team comp, but I do like the Chimera choice. There's just not much jungle choice you can go. I think Chimera is actually really good into tank jungle, especially Richter, so that kind of may make the Richter jungle a lot of pressure early on. And we do see Kira being picked on Dirty Lake despite being put into the jungle pick on R&R. I think that may be more of a comfort pick for Lakenator because he's someone that likes Kira a lot personally.
Yeah, but that Drongo Lieutenant Bellica lane in the duo is going to be that's a menacing lane. You get knocked up, you get bombed, you get gag grenaded. The Kira can't dash. The Decker, there's not a lot that she can do unless she just maybe happens to hit a double stun if R&R groups up too much. I'm expecting, that R&R duo lane to kind of W key into Dirty Lake and the boys and to put Dirty Lake and the boys on the back foot in terms of defending the Fangtooth early game.
All right, draft alone though, Tricks. Which team do you think did the draft better?
I I like R&R's game plan. I think the player skill, they have the flexibility to kind of take control of that early game. I like the Chimera into the Sevarog, into the Richter, where he can kind of go in, he can steal camps, he can bully them out, especially with the Gideon and the Drongo, both safe picks, safe lanes, and just kind of let the Crunch scale up into that Sevarog. Crunch does pretty well into Sevarog, and with the Chimera jungle kind of walking over, hopefully they can get that rolling, and then I think it'll just be lights out for D-Lab.
All right, and for you, Joey, what is Dirty Lake and the boys' strategy here? They've got two beefy boys, they got the Richter and the Sevarog, but in your professional opinion, please tell us.
Yeah, so obviously one of the win cons is gonna be the Sevarog if he can kind of keep scaling up in the late game. So like Crunch, it's gonna make him if we can apply a lot of pressure against the Sevarog, but Sevarog can still do decently into the Crunch matchup. Richter is a jungler that does fall off, so it's very, very important that the Richter jungle makes a lot of early game impact, because if the Richter jungle is not able to get any thing going for Dirty Lake and the boys, it may be hard to fight in those team fights against R&R in the mid to late game.
All right. And, looking at those synergies and all those combos, any last remarks that you'd like to mention, Tricks?
I'm excited for the game. It's pretty volatile, like Joe mentioned. If you let that Sevarog scale up, he's going to be a menace. But I think Crunch, Chimera have the early game tools to kind of shut him down. I'm personally predicting an R&R win.
And for you, Joey, who do you think will win this next match?
It's gonna be a tough one. I think R&R has an easier time to execute because they just really need to put a lot of pressure on Sevarog. I think just the fact that Richter jungle is always, it can be hit or miss literally with his hooks. It's gonna be harder for Legionnaire and the boys to really pull up that Richter jungle. But if they can do it, then and get their team kind of snowballing, that's when they can really kind of win out in those late game team fights.
Any last things you want to mention, Joey, before we pass it over to our casters?
I think that's about it, but definitely to keep an eye on the Richter jungle. He's gonna really just be able to impact or not have any impact in that early game.
Thank you so much, guys. We're now going to pass the floor over to F6 and TJDJ.
Thank you so much, R-Dog. Welcome, everyone, back to the casting desk. TJ here, alongside F6 to join me for the second debut appearance for one of our previous finalists. This time it's going to be Dirty Lake and the boys, Dirty Lawbra and the boys, whatever you want to call them. They're D-Lab any day of the week. F6 will be casting alongside me, and this is going to be another really awesome matchup to see, because we've already seen kind of what even worse timing could do in that previous game that we broadcasted. D-Lab have an opportunity here to kind of, set the pace a little bit with this game.
They do have the opportunity to set the pace with this game, looking at just straight off their T-comp, right? They have the Decker, they have the Kira, able to get that strong early game, especially in the dual lane, with a simple rotation from Richter, maybe going off with the knock-up or with the stun from the Decker and just getting a pull off of that. So if they're able to utilize that, get their dual lane up early a little bit in the beginning of the game, they should be able to apply that pressure throughout the map.
Yeah, and you can see here though that it's actually going to be R&R, just the team grouping up, going for a bit of a 5-point invade. The ward dropped down towards this red side of the Dirty Lake and the boys squad. They went for a more traditional watch. It looked like they were able to at least spot out the invade, no one getting caught out. They can keep an eye on all of the entrances and just allow that spot to be given away. Okram does take the first bit of damage of the game, just on the way back from that gadget inside of the mid lane as well. Which, when we talk about these team compositions, and particularly with how R&R are wanting to place here, you spoke backstage about you quite like this gadget pick.
I do love this gadget pick into R&R here, because Crunch is going to want to get on top of gadget a lot in the laning phase, and just being able to just have that counter or engage of the ult and the gate as well to kind of stop Crunch from going in is going to be a utility for them, especially with the Kai as well.
Yeah, and that's Kai Jungle, another appearance inside of this game, and already wanting to get involved in the right-hand side. Doesn't even need to really help out. That's going to be Okarum with a solo kill onto Lorba on this Sevarog as well. Is a great start for this R&R team, and the Chimera is, well, it's more on a crunch than anything, but hey, good start.
Yeah, that was a great solo dolo over there in the off lane. Great pickup for Aku. Gonna be able to apply that pressure. Crunch getting ahead is great for R&R there. Looking as well in this duo lane, we have Lakenator just a little bit hurt, so they're gonna have to be careful with Natty and Dwarf over there. They're gonna be able to apply that pressure, especially with that Drongo and the Bellica.
Yeah, so with the duo lane here for R&R, we do know these as Natty and Bartledy, but they decided to go for the tag team name. It's all about the synergy. It's all about the mind games of Ooga Booga and Unga Bunga. I'm going to look forward to calling them names out, especially if it's going to be this R&R team wanting to have an explosive start, nearly finding a pick onto Lakenator's Kira there with the Seismic Assault. However, it's going to be a backing off. But once again, though, our eyes are drawn to the attention of this right-hand side of the map. North making themselves a bit of a nuisance. They've already forced Gratty out of the jungle. And now Okarum combining as well to take away this blue buff. This feels like a horrible time to be a Richter jungle.
It is a horrible time indeed for them. I'm looking for them to be a little bit more aggressive with their rotations with Richter, though. Hopefully Toasty can land these stun balls a little bit more accurately. That way that whenever Richter comes over, they're able to apply that pressure like now.
Is it? Yeah, Degrassi coming over. Just going to walk towards Unga Bunga on this Bellica. Going to force the blink away. The drone comes down. Not enough damage to finish him off. But Gratty and Toasty in high pursuit. It looks like, though, the Bellica is able to escape here. Lakenator also going very low whilst that was all going on. The first gank of the Richter jungle only amounts to a blink on that Bellica.
Not bad for what happened over there. There should have been a kill, to be honest with you there, TJ, but they weren't unable to get the kill. But the blink is good enough for me as a jungler and as a player. So knowing that Richter should be over there to be able to get another gank within the 5 minutes to secure that kill on that Bellica.
Yeah, and especially in a couple of moments' time, you're talking about ultimates coming online, not only for the Richter, but you've also got the likes of, Deckers. They're probably able to chuck in like an Iron Strike in there as well, just really able to play around that. We've not seen kind of the long-range CC engage into that Rick Flash combo. That was just, the Richter just running at the Bellica, essentially, and kind of hitting the point-blank hook, at least. But hey, that's a 100% hook rate that we've seen, at least on broadcast. Can't really talk about the previous 4 minutes and 30 seconds, but well, glass half full is definitely the name of the game here. But for the R&R squad, against Dirty Lake and the boys, still sitting quite comfortably with that 1 kill advantage. As you say, probably just a little bit unfortunate for Gratty on that Richter to not find the pick here, at least. But this is where F6 we start to look at more potential flashpoints. It feels like junglers gone back towards their the jungles to farm up on their creeps as well. So looking for potential here. River buffs are a common one, but there's still a Fangtooth knocking around here, and maybe a potential one here because North has shown himself towards the left-hand side behind this shadow curtain. Lakenator and Toasty not giving away that they know about it, but North's just going to start running. Really nice seismic assault coming out. The blink from Toasty, the blink followed from North as well, and that is going to be the pick going away. R&R just coming out the gates early and finding 2 kills.
Man, he came out of that fog wall ready to fight, and he was able to follow up with a blink there. Small play from North. He was like, I understand I'm burning my blink for a blink, but he was able to secure that kill and get the advantage a little bit more on R&R side on top of that crunch kill in the off lane. What a play coming out.
I like how the different style of ganks come out as well, where it feels like getting this Richter involved in the game involves like kind of the positioning, waiting behind the shadow curtain. The North just runs at people, honestly, just holds the W key and jumps at you. That's kind of what the Chimera is all about. And hey, it has worked. Essentially there was going to be a gank on the right hand side. We did see the intention there, at least, even though there was a solo kill, and now getting themselves involved over towards the left hand side as well. But going back towards this Dirty Lake and the boys squad, you know, outside of Grati's gank towards the left-hand side, not really saw much. I mean, Lorber has been put behind on the Sevarog, found himself quite far pushed up in towards the off-lane matchup as well. So how do you think D-Lab are going to try and get back into this game?
They're going to have Grady roam a little bit more towards this duo side. The mid lane is kind of iffy, right? Just because of Narek playing the Gideon, the mobility on Gideon to be able to avoid these ganks is just so high that he's not going to be able to get a lot of potential from the mid lane. So he's going to have to focus onto that duo lane side to go after that and get them big and get them back into this game to really use that pressure on the duo lane to push back over to the other sides of the map.
Yeah, 100% here. You know, that duo lane, especially with the Kira, gets the items underneath their belt, get the lane stage well. That kind of is the late game insurance, I would say. But there's a lot of pressure on this D-Lab squad to make that happen because, well, first of all, North is just becoming an absolute menace. This is going to be a tower dive, and Lorber is just caught out underneath the tier 1, sandwiched between the solo laner and the jungle. Yet another kill going the way of R&R. North is back in this jungle for another invade. He's got the priority. Grati is at least in the vicinity. Might potentially be able to steal this if they both have the slate available, but North is just going to jump over towards the Richter as well, backing up towards the wall, maybe looking for a blink away. Has the AoE around, and knockup comes up as well, and the Richter jungle, maybe the blink and a Whiplash back on the tower, but it's not enough to find the pick onto Okram, and that is the Richter going down. Meanwhile, mid lane comes in, tries the black hole, big colossal blow from Lorber, who re-enters the fray, blink away from the Appy picker on this gadget, but R&R just grouping up inside the jungle and making them pay. North still on the hunt, is actually gonna eventually find the pick on towards Lorber. He wanted a little bit more, but now might have gone just a little bit too far. Grati has appeared, he's hit with silence. North still able to use that passive, able to keep himself topped up, but just a little bit too far gone. But I think that is a hashtag worth any day of the week. What a play.
All of this over a blue buff. Oh my, within the first 9 minutes, we're just seeing this action-packed gameplay coming in from two of the top tier teams playing in the PCC. That was a great series of events, and honestly, I don't think anybody really came out with a win. That was just a great fight all around.
It's all about sending a message, F6, you know, that's kind of what it is, especially if you're North playing this Chimera. It really is, you know, really putting on a show at least. And, you know, kind of on the flip side there, we got to look towards Grady on this Richter. He's going to miss the Riplash, but North just jumped straight onto the backline. And he's grabbed another pick onto Appy Picker's gadget. This game is starting to run out of control, and we're not even 10 minutes in.
We're honestly seeing what Chimera does once he has a lead, and he's running with it right now. He's gotten pick after pick, pressure after pressure in lanes. He's invading. He's doing everything that he needs to right now with North. We talked about it a little bit backstage here that they're trying to kind of nerf him by banning Kalari, but right now North says it doesn't matter who, I'm going to get into this game.
Well, and there's definitely one way to do it, and hey, I'm all for it. At least this Fangtooth will go the way of the R&R squad. It's going to be completely uncontested as Deslake and the boys, you know, their first appearance on stream just a little bit lackluster, and this game already in danger of snowballing away from them. But that being said, though, you know, Deslake and the boys, I'm just calling them D-Lab, all right. So D-Lab really have made a name for themselves, especially when we get towards the mid game. They're 5v5 fighting, and when they actually get into these bigger compositions. North is still kind of running around, but I think D-Lab, with looking at the composition that they have, can take a little bit solace because they have got a pretty mean team fight.
They do have a pretty mean team fight. It's just that they're not able to really time their grouping up as well as RR right now. They're just doing a better job overall. I think their communication is just a little bit more cleaner than Dirty Lake and the boys right now. And just what it looks like is just Chimera just out pressuring Grady. Chimera is just great into those tanks, like Joey was saying before. And he's doing everything he needs to do right now, right? He's over pressuring, he's going for another invade inside the enemy's red buff, meeting Grady over there. So he's applying this pressure, not allowing Grady to free farm to be able to get that lead or items that he needs to put that pressure on.
Yeah, but Grassy wants to answer back at least. We'll go for the gang, but spots on a ward. A good seismic assault comes out from Unga Bunga. It's going to be a bit of a chase coming out from Lakenator, looking towards the pick, but actually North's going to turn her attention and just deletes this Kira out of the game files. It felt like just evaporated inside of the river. And just as Dirtslake and the boys tried to make something happen, North is just there.
What? I don't understand what that position or how it happened, but there was a little bit of miscommunication. The Toasty was able to read that, but Lake was not. Caught himself in the river with the big bad wolf Chimera, and he was not able to escape there and just picked up another free kill. And right now, RNR is just running away with this lead.
They're running away. I think it's very important to note that this is mostly on North, right? I'd say North is the one moving in, but I think we want to highlight particularly like what is enabling North to do this really, and I think it all comes down to kind of the lane positions at the moment. He's able to invade because mid is constantly pushed in. Solo side, Lorba is really struggling against is really struggling against Okram's Crunch, and that enabled that blue buff invade earlier on as well. And even just in that previous few minutes, that was coming off the back of the RNR duo lane, Ooga Booga and Unga Bunga, just having that prior advantage over Lakenator and Toasty.
Yeah, that early kill coming in from the Crunch will allow that offlane pressure of Crunch just to be able to do that post or pre-6. Just allowed him to get that free over on the blue, like you said. And then obviously Gideon doing his best to keep that pressure in top of Gadget, pushing that mid wave in. As you can see, she's just constantly just back into her tower, not able to really do too much. And Gideon's able to roam. And then that Drongo into that Bellica combo, able to pressurize. They're just pressuring at the right times and able to apply it together with the great communication of like, hey, we need to gank here. Hey, we're looking over the red side. We're looking over to this 3 cam. And right now they're looking at Mini or Prime, right? So North right now is just, I think, is the determining factor of why they have such a great lead. He's at every objective. He's at every lane when there needs to be a gank or a counter gank. So he's doing exactly what he needs to.
Ooh, a bit of a blink coming out there as Garati, Lakenator and Toasty looking to catch out over towards that gold buff side, but the blink Riplash unfortunately wasn't able to connect. But Unga Bunga once again having to blink and utilize that 5-minute cooldown. Meanwhile, as you say, Mini Prime was taken by the RNR squad that was given over to Okram on the Crunch to make this push even more oppressive. The tier 1 tower has already dropped, and now North turns attention towards the left-hand side. It's a 3 versus 3 underneath the tier 1 tower. The tank is good. It will eventually drop. North turning their attention towards Lakenator once again, and Lakenator is gone. Now Narek from the mid lane as R&R just wanting to clean up house. It's going to be a blink away from Toasty, and they're also going to grab onto Gratty once again. It's 9 kills to 1, and it's all R&R.
I am absolutely lost for words right now, TJ. The rotation, the communication, the plays that are coming out of R&R right now is just perfection at its best. We saw the Gideon rotate over to help out with North as well. Crunch came over, pushed his off lane, came over to watch mid lane to keep the pressure on Gadget, not allowing her to rotate there, allowing to have the number advantage over on the duo side of things. And they were just able to clean up. And just what is this gameplay that we're seeing? I think this is like a finals gameplay that they're just putting out right now, because they're just like, hey, we're here to play, know our names, and we're coming for that title, EWZ.
Absolutely. And at the start of the switch over to us on the casters desk, spoke about Dirtslake and the boys. This is their first appearance on stream. This is not the way that they wanted this to go at all. In fact, as you say, R&R coming out swinging and saying that, yeah, these guys were in the finals last time. They're not going to make it this time, at least, because we are just outplaying them across the board here. And, leveraging that pressure, they've already grabbed their second Fang Tooth. They're looking for another pick on towards Gratty here with Narek. Unfortunately, did get caught out by the speed trap route from Appy Picker, at least. So, it's giving you an idea of the confidence that R&R are playing here. They're going to be grouping up. The Tesla Dome comes out just to wave clear. Their big counter-engaged tool is being used on minions.
Yeah, right now what you're seeing from Dirty Lake or Dirty Lobber and the boys, whichever one you choose, they're in a corner right now. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place, and they're trying to get out. But I don't think they're doing it the correct way. Lobber here taking a peek in the jungle when it's not probably your best idea to do that there, right? North has been invading your jungle side every time. He leaps on into the mid lane here and picks up a kill. He says, "Where are you going, Gadget? Come back here. I am still around and here to play." Oh my, North doing a great job once again. I honestly, they need to group up and kind of just 5-man roam at this point, because right now they are out pressured by R&R because they're communicating and going together at this point.
Yeah, and just, as I say, just playing around, you know, North is just playing around his team so well, and that's kind of like, I think, the entire crux of it here, as we have a little bit more action. The black hole did come out from Narek, roaming from that mid lane over towards the left-hand side, looking for a pick, but unable to find it. Toasty chucking out that stasis bomb, and maybe able to catch out Narek, and it will. Lakenator is able to get a kill under their name once again. Unga Bunga and Ooga Booga are quite low HP here as well, so not sure about this engage, but Okram from the solo side, big double knockup, throws down the Talons, and is just able to run down Lakenator once again. Toasty left on their own in a 1 versus 3. They're retreating back towards the mid lane, but Okram does not care. Add that to their kill tally. R&R once again. This crunch just likes to punch.
He is punching his way to victory. He's giving up a T1 on the opposite side, but I take a double kill as a consolation. Even trade on that play. Great rotation from Aku over there. Unfortunate the Fangtooth wasn't up, but he was like, you know what? I have enough pressure. Let me do a little bit more damage to the other side of the map and keep this snowball going for his team. Lobber doing a little bit of a cheeky back here out of the way of Aku. Does not want any of that smoke.
Oh, just the, I don't know if I want to call it disrespect, but just like being able to just stand on that ledge, know you can't be reached, and just recalling in front of your lane opponent. I respect that. I respect that. I like that, Lorba. But anyway, F6, I have to ask you the question. We talked about maybe Dirty Lake and the boys starting to group up. You know, we are approaching that point here where, you know, Fangtooth's a couple of minutes away. We're still waiting on that 20-minute all prime mark for the spawn as well. But right now, Dirty Lake and the boys are just kind of hemorrhaging gold at the moment. They're just they're finding themselves being caught out in their own jungle. And speaking of the devil, Unga Bunga and Narek looking for a pick on towards Gratty, but Lakenator and Toasty are at least here to provide assistance. North does not care, jumps on towards Gratty, trying to find the pick. The blink comes away, and Gratty's able to survive the initial engage. North can't find it, and also Lakenator and Toasty do escape back to their tier 2s. But R&R before this 20-minute mark, this is a death ball right now. I'm running out of superlatives to explain just how well R&R are doing.
I mean, honestly, right now, TJ, that description is the only way to really describe it, right? They're having this huge death ball. Like, yes, they're still able to go into their lanes and push some like minions up to have the advantage inside D-Lab's jungle. They've invaded red about 6 or 7 times now, blue maybe 3 or 4 times. They can't stop it. Like, there's nothing that they can do. They need to put these wards up. They need to get a game plan together, maybe come together as much as North and his boys are doing right now, because I don't want to call Marnar, because North right now is just carrying this team so much. It is ridiculous and it's unbelievable and how well he's playing right now, but they need to get together.
Yeah, you can definitely see the adrenaline going. You can see that kind of the whole R&R team just really feeling today's game as well. They want to go against even worse timing to duke it out for first or second seed later on in the broadcast. But for now, they still need to close out this game against Dirty Lake and the boys. 20 minutes gone in firm pole position to do so, at least. You're just kind of looking at the levels advantage. You know, North is understandably ahead of Gratty here by a level. Lakenator is just 1 level behind. Just constantly across each of these lanes is just a lead starting to balloon here for R&R. And of course, this all comes down to just the pressure, the amount of farm they're able to pick up across the map as well. They're still looking for a cheeky pick outside this Fangtooth. Not going to find it. They're taking the boys. Actually, no, they do. They have actually been able to find a pick on towards Toasty. And with that slight advantage, not like they even needed it at this point, immediately going to start up this Fangtooth.
I mean, you can never be too safe, am I right, TJ? So being able to pick up at least one there coming out of the Decker, the real person that's going to play a lot of CC over onto that Fangtooth side of the map was a great pick there. Aku in a bad position, though. Appy Picker here, trying to be able to damage. Aku's out of mana. Can he pick up this kill? It is a 1v1. He should be able to run him down. He's out of mana, can't do too much, running for his life. Grady is here, and that hat took him down. It was nice, though. It did look good on him over in the duo lane. A little bit more pressure applied.
Yeah, and that kill being donated over towards Appy Picker as well, as Unga Bunga is just going to throw the stasis bomb on towards Lakenator, who once again falls before any further team fight can break out. Dirty Lake and the boys just constantly without their AD carry, and now they're going to find themselves trying to have an advantage here because Uga Booga is very low. So is North. They're trying to turn this around 2 versus 4 with the low health bars. North jumping back in, though, is able to grab the first pick, and now Appy Picker will be blinking away from that black hole. The health bars are blinking. Dead taking the boys a potential to get some shutdowns going, but once again R&R just do not allow it.
No, it's not allowed. North said so. It is not allowed right now. He cannot allow his team to die. They want to keep this lead, and North is here to play. I will say it again and again and again. He is not allowing his team to fall behind, and they're just doing such a great job communicating with each other, and they got out of a sticky situation and made it their own right there.
And you just had to think in that situation by the tier 2 in left-hand side. If Dirty Lake and the boys were just had a little bit more gold, had a little bit more XP, if R&R weren't at this point, quick maths, 13 kills ahead, that could have been a big turning point in this fight, and maybe something for Dirty Lake and the boys to kind of rally around, because that would have been gold into the back pocket of Appy Picker, also into Lorba as well on this Sevarok, who desperately needs some of that gold and XP to get themselves back into this game. But right now, just R&R just running this show, really.
They're definitely running this show right now, TJ. They do have to be careful. They are going to want to try and end this game out as quickly as they can, because they do not want Kira and Severall to get to late game or this gadget, because now you're going to start to see that late game team fight that Dirty Lake and the boys have inside of their bracket. And you don't want that, because right now Uga Booga actually trading with Lakenator is going to be able to kill here with the rad rounds. Big jump back, saying I'm going to style on you here and I'm here to play. What a 1v1 we saw in duo lane.
And I felt like Lakenator was want to engage that as well, seeing an opportunity to get a pretty decent shutdown as well on towards his opposing AD carry. And I do not mean to harp on Lakenator at all, but he's just been absent in this game, probably because R&R have done such a good job of just prioritizing this Kira in every single fight. North has just painted a target on the back of Lakenator's head, and just every opportunity that North can, he will jump and try and take down this Kira. It's such a brutal start, but I think, as you say, this is R&R coming out with a very clear game plan. It's get North ahead, keep North ahead, and keep D-Lab down as well, so they can just keep running around the map, taking all of this farm. Lorba finds themselves very far pushed up, but that's just a one-way ticket, and he's going to go down to Uga Booga's Drongo here. 10-0-3 at this point. That is a terrifying prospect.
You do not want to get hit by that Drongo right now. He is hurting worse than a toothache, but Dirty Lake and the boys are looking to try and get position over. Black Hole coming out top on top of Grady here. Is going to be able to escape. He should be, but Norv is in the back line. He does not care. Big ult coming out on top of Kira, 1v2ing. He is still going. He's still W King. He cannot be killed. How many ults can he take? Down goes Grady. Down back to Toasty. Alki's going to keep running around. Can Kira get out here? I do not think so, TJ.
No, they're just completely split up as the members of R&R regroup and avenge their fallen comrade in North. He eventually goes down, but from that one, from a 1 versus 3, they still do win the trade, though. But that is a big shutdown. I don't think I caught who would have got that shutdown gold, but that's definitely a big thing as well. And Unga Bunga having to be really careful, found themselves rooted by Lorba inside the Seek and Destroy. The hat comes down very close, 6 HP with the Mega and proc, and it's just not enough. Dirty Lake and the boys finding themselves once again being battled out of their own jungle. There's going to be Lorba biting the dust once
man.
more. Okram running the show again in North's absence, who is eventually spawning on towards the map. The resets do come out, but this has been a bloodbath.
Man, I've never seen so many people hold down the W key in my life. They are here to play. North was 1v3 in the back line the entire time, and he still managed to eat 3 ults and was able to get them low enough for his team to come in and clean up as they look towards the primordial Fangtooth here. I don't think there's much that D-Lab can do.
No, it's going to be a tough one here. Would have to take a miracle play, and we kind of once again in a situation, F6, where I don't think D-Lab can win. It can get back in this game after 1 team fight. I don't think they get back in this game after 2. They've got to just win about 3 or 4 back-to-back fights to even get even with this R&R squad. The Primordial Fangtooth still hasn't dropped, but Gratti can't get into the pit. Ockham with the forward crunch. There's going to be the black hole by Narek looking for members, but immediately going to be blinking away. Gratti just caught out though with Steward locking down 1 target, but it will only be him dropping down. Lorber hits a very nice subjugate to get his team out there, but the Primordial Fangtooth has dropped or prime a possible next target, and it looks like that is going to be the call because D-Lab are completely routed away from this objective.
Yeah, Gatchet off into trying to run away, trying to get to a safe place because she does not want to 5v1 this team. They're pretty big right now, and they're so spread out on the map. This is going to be a free or prime for R&R, and they're going to be able to get a nice little reset here and pressure out these lanes and just get that much more pressure on top of Dirty Lake and the boys.
Approaching this 28-minute mark, it looks like Happy Picker once he tried to recall, he tried to get away, but North stops that one. A fair amount of damage return, mind you, but Happy Picker just could not get the recall out in time, sitting on a death timer for 45 more seconds. Just when you thought things were not going to get bad to worse, the All Prime buff, the Primordial Fangtooth as well. Recalls have gone through just to complete items. I'm going to chuck quickly, if we could just throw up the tab screen, just want to see what that gold has been spent on, just kind of where R and R are at the moment. That's a lot of R's in one sentence, I must say. With some of these items as well, but kind of I imagine it's going to be 2 to 3 items consistently with some of the components as well. Even just looking at the fact that Unga Bunga here on the support role, who traditionally has kind of like the least amount of gold on a team, so it gives you an idea of, well, if they're already on 3 items, you can see where everyone else is. Narek has got that combustion, the True Steel, the Megacosm as well, and now R&R just kind of wanting to close out this game. It's gone to 30 minutes, which, to be honest, F6 with how R&R were playing, I was surprised to see actually go past this 30-minute mark.
Honestly, I think it comes down to when they made the plays and how the timers were up as well. Unfortunately for the mistook there on Grady, I don't think there's too much that they can do. We have Chimera pushing off into the off lane here, trying to get that T2 down. They're looking at a standard 2-2-1 here, kind of put pressure throughout all 3 lanes. Left inhibitors getting low. I don't think there's too much fight left in Dirty Lake and the boys, but if they're able to just come together one more time, they might be able to possibly turn this around.
Yeah, Okram's going to go forward. He's going to look for the backline, but he's actually going to be skewered up in a blink away. He will go down. The hat comes out. Narek, though, wants to return with the black hole, but the Testadome over the top, and R&R just go way too aggressive there and lose 2 members, but North has got 2 minion waves with the All Prime buff. He's looking for the core. He's focusing on the objective. D-Lab struggling to try and get North off of this core. They will eventually get him away. The Whiplash is going wide, and D-Lab are actually able to find the kills. They're able to take down 2. They're able to take down North as well. They will hold the base. They lose all 3 inhibitors, but it's only the duo lane of R&R that stay alive.
Is this the defense we were just talking about? They needed to find something to keep them alive just a little bit longer, just a little bit more hope, and I believe they're doing it right here.
But it's still got to be careful though, because Ooga Booga 13-0 and 6 on the Drongo. 229 CS as well. We're going to find ourselves in the containment fence, but I don't know who is locked in here with who. Another minion wave will be coming in from that right-hand side. Unga Bunga on the supporting role is still dealing with Gratti. Nice knock-up, nice Void Bomb combo as well. Gratti just has to back away as Ooga Booga just return. A lot of damage up for Gratti with the rad rounds as well. Goes very far forward, but has to back away. Takes a hat, takes the damage from the sticky mine, and will eventually concede the pressure. But Lakenator and Gratti, they've come off the jump pads. They're looking for the hit. Gratti can't find the Riplash. Lakenator blinks forward. Shutdown goes the way of Lakenator, and they will eventually take down this Drongo.
We just talked about it. They need to pull something together. That is twice now that they're able to come back, get the kill they need. They got a bunch of shutdowns. It's great for their gold. Increase it just a tad more to get them that much closer into this game. And I believe they've done that here. If they can just hold on for another minute or two, get these waves pushed out, contest the next objective that's coming up, looking like the Primordial Fang Tooth, I think they might be able to just kind of bring something back, bring a little bit more life into this team to possibly just do a big upset coming out of this game.
It's definitely going to be quite a hill to climb, really, with looking at the team that's available to them as well. But we mentioned this about at the 20-minute mark as well, is that Dirty Slate and the boys still have that very mean late game team composition, and R&R though, you know, they weren't able to close out the game, and maybe that is where you look at kind of the lack of experience kind of as a team, as well as say that these are really, like, no doubt these are incredibly good individual players, but maybe, you know, the Dirty Slate and the boys squad maybe a bit more experience in their team cohesion and how they're playing around each other, because R&R this game has felt very much like a solo queue game for a lot of it, and now they need to pull in deep to really close out this game, because Dirty Lake and the boys already have got that defense. R&R, don't get me wrong, still in a very good position to close this one out. Another Primordial Fang Tooth is going to go their way. Okram, though, tries to look for a pick or something, but he just finds himself going down, and Dirty Lake and the boys get yet another shutdown.
I think he was just trying to stall there, just happened to just try and stall way too long and got picked out there. This is great for Dirty Lobber and the boys, able to get themselves a pick. Now they have the number advantage. Crunch is down for another 40 seconds. Take another 10 seconds there just to apply for him to really get to the next objective. So if they can play around here, get another pick whenever R&R are trying to get to this Prime, they might be able to turn this around, pick up Prime, get the pressure back into their lanes. It's not looking too far away for Dirty Lake and the boys to come back in and kind of do their thing, get to that a little bit more of a late game, and kind of put that pressure back onto R&R, what they've been doing to them this entire time.
Yeah, because this game just looked absolutely dire for Dirty Lake and the boys. Like, you know, it was a 13 kill lead at one point. Every member across the board was ahead of their opponent. Dirty Lake and the boys were not even allowed to go into their own jungle. There was just no safety on the map for them to exist, and R&R were able to just run the show. But now this is where they really do need to start getting some discipline going. You know, they've overstayed a little bit. They've allowed Dirty Lake and the boys to at least get some hold back onto this game. It's still an uphill battle, though. R&R are still favorites to close this game out, and with this All Prime spawning, they want to get the double buffs and want to get going as well. I imagine they're just waiting for Okram to rejoin, and they're going to look towards the All Prime and start it up. But of course, Dirty Lake and the boys are going to be aware of the situation. Lorba is spotting this one out as the All Prime does go down extremely quickly, and Dirty Lake and the boys actually going to go for a full retreat. I don't think they were expecting it to go down as quickly. Great containment fence from Toasty to stop Okram from getting on towards that back line, but now Toasty unfortunately had to get quite close to stop that one. This does buy time though. Mid lane inhib and left lane inhib have both spawned. The core is still exposed thanks to the right inhib being down. It's now back up, and R&R do have to deal with these inhibs once again. They will not fight back. It just buys a little bit more time for Dirty Lake and the boys to try this, but there's going to be yet another minion wave coming in. The core still sitting at 50% HP as 1, 2, and 3 inhibitors all fall at the same time. One more one more minion wave going on the tower, but they're taking the boys. Their wave clear is very strong. R&R have to be careful here, as Dirty Lake the boy can turn it. It's going to be Lorba going in. He's actually grabbed Ooga Booga already, and the Drongo is gone. Containment fence goes down. The Tesla Dome over top. Nari in the black hole, getting members away, but the health bars are too low. Dirty Lake the boys turning this fight. Look at them go down. Abby Pickle and Lakenator just pouring damage into these frontliners. It's a 2 for 3. Dirty Dirty Lake and the boys once again will hold off a little bit longer, but another mini wave is coming in. It's North is still around. Can they combine with the Bellica? The wave comes in once again. North goes in on towards Abby Picker. Lakenator just deletes North and returns to favor. Unga Bunga having to blink away from the core. Toasty in full pursuit as well, looking for a stasis bomb. Great containment defense comes down. They only need to take down this Bellica. Stasis bomb lands. The Bellica is going to eventually drop Unga Bunga by so much time, but that is a team wipe for Dirty Lake and the boys. They hold their base once again.
TJ, oh my word. The defense on top of Dirty Lobber and the boys is impeccable. I thought R&R's offense was great, but the defense coming out of Dirty Lobber and the boys right now are just fantastic. This is not the first or the second or the third time that they've held down there, but this is the fourth time they've just built a wall and said, hey, we are not going to give up this core. We're going to keep fighting no matter how bad it looks. We're in here to play. We are also the second place team, and we're not just going to let you run all over us. And I think this is a great turning point for Dirty Lobber and the boys.
Yeah, it's a focal point that they can really build around as well. We have hit it's near enough super late game at this point. We're 37 minutes into this game. And again, with the start that R&R had to this game, I was surprised to see it even go past 30 minutes. But here we are, 37 minutes in, Dirty Lake and the boys, very much still in control of this game. And F6, I know that you have a little bit of experience, you know, from a competitive background. What do you think the mental's like for R&R? They've been throwing themselves into this wall time and time again, but Dirty Lake and the boys have just slammed it in their face every single time.
I mean, from the perspective of R&R, they're probably like, we've got this, we just got to keep going. But honestly, the real mental difference now is going to go to Dirty Lobber and the boys. They're like, hey guys, we can actually do this. We can actually come back from this deficit, and they are doing their best right now. But it does look like R&R are waiting for a pick.
Yeah, Gratty's going to go forward. He's going to find himself knocked up and deleted. There's still damage in this squad, but it's answered back, though, as Okram falls to the gadget. Abby Picker's Testdome does so much damage, but a colossal blow. Narek with the black hole. North jumps onto Lakenator once again, but he's isolated from his team. He goes into the Purge, trying to lifesteal, but North has got that one. R&R find a huge combo outside the Fountain Pit. They've already dropped 4 members. They drop the 5th, and North will just stand there and tanks the sticky mine. That's all 5 members dropping for Dirty Lake and the Balls. R&R know their names, know these players. They will finally be able to close out this game.
Oh my goodness, I was looking so close to these fights. It was getting so close, and R&R running to the core to close this game out, to tell the entire PCC and the viewers here that we are here, and EWT, we are coming for you.
My, oh my, we wanted a statement game from both of these teams. You know, Dirty Lake and the boys, a previous finalist, the number 2 seed as well. Where did they stack with the current competition? They go against R&R with a lot to prove. And honestly, with that early game, I think R&R are going to be not only very chuffed with that, but also for everyone watching as well. This R&R team, very, very strong early game as well, just playing around each other. Obviously, there's still issues, you know, that it took 38 minutes and Dirty Lake and the boys, a bit of discipline comes out to hold the base for that long. But R&R do eventually get the probably the result that they were looking for. But man, Dirty Lake and the boys went and worked for it in the end.
Yeah, I don't even think it's an issue of closing out there. Just like you were saying before, the structure of Dirty Lobber, Dirty Lake and the boys, right? They just understand each other. They know where they're at. They understand they were in a losing situation at the time. And they're like, hey, we just need to make these right plays at the right time. And they sure did multiple times. And just the ending of that game, man, what a game coming out from these top tier players. And I cannot wait to see these guys again in the finals.
Okay, and well, I don't know about you all, but I think me and F6 need to go grab a drink. So just to break down that absolute craziness of a game, we're going to throw it back to Niana's desk, to our dog, to Trix, and Joe, yours truly, to kind of make sense of what on earth we just witnessed. Back to you, our dog.
Thank you so much, TJ, DJ, and F6. Hydrate up, boys. What a banger of a game. The Dirty Boys versus R&R. These are top tier teams, by the way, but R&R coming out on top. Congratulations. Tricks, please break down this game because all I saw was W key on hold on North.
Yeah, North held down the W key and the left mouse button, and that was kind of it. Akarim picking up that solo kill early in the game, level 1, beating down on Lobber, and then reset the lane, come in, North walks in, takes the blue buff, Akarim comes in, fight, and then that was kind of it. Then North's ahead on Chimera early game, and that's all she wrote. The Dirty Boys, they put up a good fight later, but I'm not sure if it was the Dirty Boys putting up a good fight or R&R doing a little trolling. We like to have fun around here. We'll let the crunch get caught out 7 times, and then we'll push the game to 35 minutes.
Yeah, and I do want to bring to our attention the Chimera being such a dominant pick in this tournament so far. So we saw North on Chimera, and he was just able to create so much pressure and so much impact on the map. Will we foresee a change in the meta tricks, or is North just that good?
It's definitely looking like these 5v5 competitive games are really turning into a crazy brawl. It's not like your traditional kind of like MOBA, like, oh, we're going to sit, we're going to farm up, we're going to play lame. We're pushing the pace. We're running into your jungle because one of the best ways to get ahead is to make sure that your opponent is behind. So we're going to run in, we're going to take your stuff, we're going to ward up your jungle, we're going to take the neutral objectives, and then that's it. So I think the Chimera having this early game pressure, this ability to just kind of jump on people, take your stuff real quick, take those early objectives, especially like these early primes are doing so much for these teams. I think Chimera might be here to stay because I don't know what other jungler really can answer the pace that he's pushing.
Yeah, and what an absolute massacre by them. I do really want to say I really like the R&R logo. It's like an insane looking monkey with a banana in his mouth, which is a contrast to the D-Lab's very detailed one. But Joey, talk to us about what you just saw.
Well, like Trick said, I saw a lot of like W King happening on the North. It's just like Jaime is one of those picks where if he actually gets ahead early, he can just kind of keep running down people. And what makes Jaime really good in this kind of meta is the fact that he's really good into a lot of jungle picks. We see a lot of like the Richter, we see like a lot of like Rampage, right? But Jaime is actually someone that does really good against like tank junglers, and he can just put out a lot of pressure. He can invade. He just can do stuff that those kind of junglers cannot do. So it's gonna be one of those things that to keep an eye on. The Chimera is actually starting to get a lot of time to shine just because where the meta is kind of at for the jungler. But definitely as more and more heroes get added to the Predators of Wasp, so that's when that's going to be another meta shift. That's where Chimera, it's not going to do as good when there's a more variety of picks that can actually deal with that Chimera.
Right. And what do you even do though, Joey? How should D-Lab, how should they responded to the W key strategy and pressure by R&R?
It's really tough because like the thing I said to keep an eye on is the Richter jungle, because he's gonna struggle against like Chimera pressure. So what the Richter jungle needs to do is try to apply pressure and get his other lanes ahead by just doing Richter jungle things with all the pulls and all that. And we didn't see that. There was a lot of like pressure going on where Richter was just not doing that at all. He's like 0-2 at one point. That's definitely not what you want to see on Richter jungle. It's him going that KDA in the early kind of game. So it's just one of those instances where Richter just need to find a way to just get pressure on. It's just he couldn't do that well into the North Chimera that game.
And for you, Trix, any last thoughts that you'd like to mention?
It was just an overall incredible game. I really just want to highlight for the viewers at home, North's build. He was going crazy damage early, and then he built into survivability, and then later game when the fights started to not go his way, he transitioned out of that build. He sold his absolution for an unbroken will because he noticed, he looked at the game, said, I'm getting CC'd, I'm getting blown up, I need more health. And that's something that anybody can take to their games. If your build is not working, if you are full build and you have extra gold, sell your item and buy one that's better for the situation. Show that adaptability in your games, just like North did, and maybe you'll win a few more games.
Yeah, what an incredible play by North. He just created so much impact in that last match that we just saw. But Joey, any other last final thoughts you'd like to add?
I think I would love to see. Of course, this is kind of like single games. We saw like they were able to put a good fight despite that really like huge disadvantage. So we'll love to see and more see them again in the finale because I think with how they kind of show off some really crazy defenses on that side, I think they're actually a decent team. This is just a really bad game, which is how far ahead the Chimera just got in that game.
And I do want to say thank you so much to the both of you for being a part of our tournament. What a pleasure to do the Des portion with one of the best, right? So for those who want to catch up with you, Joey, how should they keep up with you?
Definitely, I do daily kind of content over YouTube, just kind of commentate for you, trying to talk through what I'm doing and why, showing some competitive builds, but also some very fun, almost meme builds that can work out if you know what you gotta do. But you can find me on YouTube, and you also find me on Twitter, where I post pictures of my dogs occasionally over there for those who are doggo lovers in the chat.
Yeah, and I love seeing your dogs on Zitter now. But Trix, I know you don't really have much social media, but friend, do you have any like last minute shout outs or mentions before we let you go?
Yeah, follow our dog on Twitch, subscribe to the PCC YouTube channel, follow F6 on Kick, and subscribe to Joe Yours Truly's YouTube channel.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere because we're going to go ahead and have a break. We have the 5th and 6th seed matchup, Pink Ravens versus For Fun Gamers.